Good morning, guys. These are my morning visitors that I've got a chance to share with you. And where's he gone? He's right there. The guy with the antlers, Daddy. He's so majestic. The dogs are going crazy inside. All these little ladies are waiting for him. And they sometimes go, once they've gone in our trees there, you have no idea they're there. So, I'm glad I got the chance to share these with you this morning. So let's go in. Not much knitting being going on, not much to share, but as always, there'll be lots of girly chatter. Hi to everybody. Oh, come here, Bubbles. Say hi. Hello. Hello. Oh, you just want treats, don't you? Hi everyone, welcome to the Knitting Den. This is episode number 183 and today is Monday, December 12th. I thought I had it in my head, but it went out again. My name's Denise, if you're watching for the first time, and I'm also Knitting Den on Ravelry and Instagram. I want to welcome you if this is your first time watching. Thanks for joining us. And to everyone returning, thanks for coming back, guys. I'm sitting this morning in front of the tree, as you can see. It is a really nice sunny day. Blue sky, look at that, isn't that gorgeous? And what was also gorgeous, hopefully, I did get to insert a little video at the beginning with the deer on it. I never tire of seeing the deer. They're just amazing looking creatures. I love them, especially the guy, the guys with their antlers. Oh look, I've got my little Rudolphy antlers as well. So yes, welcome. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this on a weekly basis. I really want to, but the week goes so fast, and then the second week is just about finished before I have time to blink. And so here we are. I think it's 2 weeks, nearly 2 weeks since I recorded last. But I'm here. I had to give the dogs a treat because the minute you sit down and start petting Boo, he just thinks it's eat tray time. And I have to say that in Pig Latin because he actually does know the word treat. And he'll think he's going to get another one if I keep saying it. So I'm here with another new mug. I couldn't resist this. Isn't that so pretty? Now, and I have in here, and it's hot because I did just pour it out. And actually that is my first sip. I have in here, because I'm right into coffees now. In fact, I always was. I did try teas for quite a while, but I'm a coffee drinker and usually just 1 cup a day. This is my second because I'm sitting down with you guys. And I'm not a coffee connoisseur by all means, so this week it's Folgers and it's vanilla biscotti. And I am using, as I always do, vanilla flavouring creamer, which you can't get these in England. You cannot get flavoured creamers in England. Seriously. Not powdered ones, packets, or the liquid like this. It's just really weird when I go home and I have to have milk in my coffee. Anyway, I like the Natural Bliss rather than just the normal vanilla Coffee Mate, because these are natural ingredients. It's not full of everything else. And they aren't my glasses, are they? They won't work. They have, and I don't know if you use this, non-fat milk, heavy cream, and sugar, and natural flavour, which is probably from vanilla beans, or I don't know if they use real vanilla bean. But I did compare when I first started using this with the Coffee Mate that I used to use, and there's a huge difference. Maybe it's not so much in my coffee, but a little taste on the spoon. The other stuff tastes so artificial, and this just actually tastes like sugary cream, so it's really nice. Anyway, back to my mug as well. So I am waffling on before we get started, but what's new? If you knew me well, and when I say if you knew me well, that's probably just family members, I would have loved to have had a robin on this mug. This is a cardinal, as you obviously know, and it's very, when you see them on Christmassy stuff, it's just like having robin stuff in England. Everything has robins on, especially Christmas time. And Boo, you leave it. Boo Boo's around here now. I've got everything sitting with me. It's the only time you get to see him if he thinks something's going to be put in his mouth. And I'm moving I'm going to leave it on my, get off, that's mine. I'll show you in a minute. So yeah, I would love to have had robins on. Robins, not only I've always loved them at Christmas time. You see them on the, snowy branches and things like that. For, the past nearly 20 years, I guess, since we lost Dad, which was about 18 years ago, robins have started meaning, how do I say this? Robins mean a lot to the family, especially my sister, Brenda. So after we lost Dad, I think this is how it started. I'm not sure if Mum and Dad used to get a robin in his garden, but after he'd passed away, my sister started getting a robin in her garden. Or she might have gotten robins before then, but every time the robin came, she would say it was like Dad visiting. And so since then, robins they just mean so much to every one of us in the family now. And I'll tell you how much so, because my sister sent me this sweater, and there you go, I'm going to turn it around. Isn't he cute? My sparkly sweater. The sun is starting to come around now, so I'm trying to turn away from the light, and I hope that doesn't affect the lighting for me. It probably will affect the lighting for me, and I may find that I have to move on to the sofa. We'll see. Shush! I'm going to have to get them in. They bark like crazy, like you heard earlier with the deer out there. Chances are there's not deer out there now, but they'll bark like crazy at anything else too. All right, moving on. I've done introductions. I want to give you a little bit of contact info. If I try to remember this each episode. So, Knitting Den, if you want to contact me on Ravelry and Instagram, you'll find me as Knitting Den. And I am on Facebook, but I'm going to say PM me or email me at dschultz. I don't know if I might be able to get it across here. I'm using new software to edit, and I'm not quite sure how to put the captions on where you can see them. I used to have like a band go across the screen. But it's dschultz46@gmail.com. If you want to friend me on Facebook, please PM me or email me and ask me, because I'm getting some requests and I don't recognize the name, and so I'm not really adding every request I get, because some names are just, I don't think they're even knitters. So if you would like to, so that I know that you are a knitter, you watch the podcast, you want to friend me, just shoot me a little message first, and then I'll either give you my link, which has got the number, like I mentioned before. It's got the number at the end of my website URL, not website, my Facebook page URL has a number after my name. So that is introductions, and as I said, contact me anytime. We have a Ravelry group, the Knitting Den podcast, and you can pop in there and leave messages in the threads for the weekly or the whenever episode. I want to say the weekly thread, but whatever thread I open for that week's podcast, leave messages in there as well. So moving on, after all of that, it was about 10 minutes. That's not bad really, is it, for chatting? And if you notice, I just snapped a nail yesterday. Actually, I wonder if I can, look at that. You can see it's gone so short. You can see the tip of my finger. I was doing so well too. I was trying to get them, I've got that gel nail polish on. But anyway, enough waffle. I'm going into finished objects, and I'm going to uncross my legs now, so the dogs are out the way. And if you will just let me indulge in a bite, I've got a mince pie, and it's a homemade mince pie. I made these at the end of last week. I went to my friend Michelle's and we had a baking day. We did actually bake, or she made biscotti, and it was absolutely delicious. Cranberry and pistachio. It's all gone. And then I've got a jar of mincemeat in the cupboard, and I had bought pastry. So I made a dozen of these pies. This is the last one. Mm-hmm. You leave my pie, Benji. Mm-hmm. No. You can't have mince pie. So, it's pastry quite flaky, so a little dry. I'm going to do that so you can see my antlers or my headband. Anyway, we'll move into finished objects. Yes, Bindi, I never have to pet her constantly. I'm going to say I've got a finished object. Sorry guys, I'm having to move around because the sun is bright and it's coming right round. It's not a great time of day for doing this, even though it's only 10:20 in the morning. So as I was talking about, not nearly done, finished objects. They're not quite finished. They're still on the needles, but they just need grafting together, and it's the socks I was working on last week for hubby. And the reason they're not grafted together is because I can't find my darning needles, or needle. No, I've got more than one. So I was doing 2 at a time for not very long at all, and then I put them on separate needles. So I've been knitting both at the same time, but just on different needles. And so they are just vanilla socks. They need a good blocking. I don't normally block my socks, but you can see where I've had them. I knit that way, and even though it's not a ladder, you can see where it's been folded a lot. So it needs a nice blocking. It's just a vanilla sock, and I'm using a pattern for the heel, and I did actually I knit with this that came with the yarn, the ball of yarn, for the reinforced heel and the actual reinforced toe from the decreases. I wish I could have got them stitched and off the needles, but I'll probably show them again next week, all nice and blocked. I'm happy with them. I guess I'll have to call them nearly dones. They're not finished objects. So, a couple of nearly dones really. The yarn, did I just hit that with the I'll probably go over on the sofa in a minute. I must admit, it's not the comfortablest thing to do, sit on the floor. Not for me, anyway. This was the yarn. And again, it's never in focus. I'm going to see if I can use that software I've got to like zoom in on things. I think it's got the capability to do that, but I haven't played around with it yet. So, Yavol is what I was calling this, and it doesn't have a colour. It's just a number somewhere, but it's probably been ripped off. I have another ball of it, and seriously, I thought I was going to have to break into this. It's not the same colour. You can see this is all greys, but I figured desperate measures, I would have used this for the toes and it wouldn't have made that much of a difference. I got both balls from my friend Michelle as a gift last year, and to me it feels like opal, you know, it's just wool. I don't know if it's even I don't know, I'm going to do that more than once or even more than twice. 75% wool, virgin wool, so it's not super wash, so that's why it often feels a bit coarse. So it kind of reminds me of opal yarn, and there's 25% nylon, so a typical nice hard wearing, or whatever you'd like to say, socks. Ideal for hubby. These are going to be his first real proper pair of socks that he might even be able to wear with shoes. I don't know. So all that said, the reason I thought I was going to have to use more, you know, break into that, was from even the middle of this foot, I start thinking I'm not going to have enough yarn. And this is how much yarn I've got left on one sock. And because I did split the ball, and this is how much yarn I've got left on this second sock. So I did just make it, and I've got enough to graft them together. But I think when I use this one, I don't know when, but when I do use this, I might just make the leg a little shorter. I did ask a few of you what was an average length for husband's kind of shoe, you know, socks. And I think it was 7 to 8 inches, most of you said. And I think this might have ended up 8 inches. So I'll know to just make them a tad smaller. And sorry if I keep kicking that. So before we move on, I'm going to go sit on the sofa and heat me coffee up, because I've got the door open for her, so there's a little cool breeze coming in. And I know for a fact the coffee's already gone cold. So if you'd like to bear with me, or go heat your coffee up, or go grab your mince pie, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I've transferred everything onto the sofa, but it's a bit of a muddle here. But now, I was like, I can't find where I put the notebook. Let's get a move on, shall we? I'd like to have sat in front of the tree there for a little while, but it just wasn't working with the lighting. I forget that the sun's always bright. I don't have blinds or curtains up at some of the windows. But anyway, I'm going to sit down. You can see my antlers, sort of. I've still got my mince pie. I've heated my coffee up. I do like mugs that have the pattern on both sides, so that anybody watching me drink a cup of coffee could see it, but because I'm right-handed. But it's just plain, and I don't know if these are going to stay on. All right, are we ready? Okay, that was the first sort of finished object. And let's see, I did not, and I'm not going to run upstairs for it, I didn't bring the snowflake hat. I've blocked it. It's actually a little damp still, and it's upstairs. So that will be, hopefully, a totally finished object next week. I've got to find my pom-pom maker, or find a pom-pom, and I want to do the braids on it. So I didn't bring that. Works in progress. And let me see. I've got 3 to show you. I really want to get lots more on the needles, because I don't know, I find that the knitting section's kind of ending up a bit boring. for you guys. Hopefully not, but all right, just quickly. Didn't get much knitting done. I don't know what I've been doing actually. I just didn't knit that much. So, look, little guys popping out there to show you, to look at you. I did not knit on this much. This Nurmalin 2 doesn't normally take very long, but you've got to sit and knit it, obviously. And I've been doing other stuff. But this was the Nurmalin 2, and I was using my own yarn, or own dyed yarn, one of my first attempts at dyeing, because I wanted to see how it knit up. Because I wasn't sure if things like this would pool, but it's looking really good. I just would need to give it a move on. And this is a fingering weight, fingering weight superwash merino and silk blend. And I'll tell you exactly, the kind of blend at another date when I get labels on those things. So I didn't get much of that done. Hermione's socks, they are here. I did a lot of knitting on the socks for hubby, so everything else just didn't get that much, a few rows if that done. So, and I don't know why, but this sock, my Hermione's everyday sock, is taking forever. And it seems a bit on the small side, and I don't know why, because it's the same stitch count. Maybe the yarn is slightly thinner, but it's just fingering weight yarn. This is my Miss Potter colourway from Desert Vista Dye Works, Susan. And again, quite blurry. There's the other side, looks a bit neater there. And this is easy TV knitting, but I think just because I was spending so much time on the Yavol socks, it's just not growing much at all. But that is a current work in progress, things that I don't want to stay on the needles for very long. And what else? I cast on something brand new. Well, actually, I haven't even finished casting on. This is how busy I was. Remember, and I have put it in a bag though, keep it in its own bag. Remember I said I wanted to do a swap, and I joined the Never Not Knitting group to do a winter swap. So you have to knit one of Alana Dakos, as I pronounce it, I'm sure I say it wrong every time. Alana Dakos's patterns, and your partner probably could have given you a hint at what they like, because obviously I'm not going to take on a cardigan or a sweater from Alana's Botanical Knits books. That would be way too much. So what I decided on, and I actually have one myself, and I brought it with me, I've decided to knit a cowl, and there's nothing to show because, like I said, I didn't even get cast on. This needs quite a few hundred stitches. I did just wind the yarn last night by myself. I just couldn't be bothered to put it on the Swift, so I wound a ball. It's actually the roundest I've ever wound yarn. But I did that because it wasn't a huge big skein. I've got 2 skeins of it, and it is Manos Silk Blend. And the Silk Blend, if you haven't had it before, it's a single ply, and it does make for rather sticky yarn, I think. I mean, it just kind of sticks together. It's got quite a fuzziness to it, I want to say. But I've cast on with that, so there's nothing to show. This is the very first bag I ever bought when I start podcasting, and it was from Lois, Knitting's My Bag, who is no longer on Etsy. I think she's got has she got Big Cartel, or she's her own website? I can't remember. But anyway, I haven't used this in a while, to be honest, so I know it doesn't match, but some of the projects just can't match the bags. Anyway, as I said, the pattern, It's an Ilana Dakos cowl pattern called Cream and Sugar. I haven't read about why it was called Cream and Sugar, but this is a finished object. You can see it's like pretty cables in it that I knit for myself probably a couple of years ago now. It was blocked, but I don't wear it very often. I don't know why. And I can't remember what yarn I used, and I didn't look it up. So feel free to go to the Ravelry page, have a look at this project. It'll be quite way down in the projects, but you can have a look if you want to find out what. It was fingering weight. Now, I think the one I'm doing, Silk Blend, is kind of like a DK weight, so it might end up a little bigger than that, which I think will be okay, because this to me looks a little on the small side. And I'm going to take these off because I haven't had it on for a while. I thought I would try it on. I don't even know what it looks like now, but it's wide around the neck here, and of course, I do sometimes prefer scarves so that you don't have to put this over. And as I said, I think it could be a little bigger, because I think the picture that she's got is this is wider and it flops a little bit easier, but it's nice. It'll be nice under a coat. And I feel like I'm falling down. Sorry. It's just, under a coat, it's not hugging you, but it's not really doing anything. So I think that's why I don't wear it. The size is kind of weird. I guess I could turn it down just like a collar under my coat, or I could, like she did, like just kind of put it inwards so it looks a bit like a cowl. I don't know. Sometimes it's just all about the knitting. I like the look of things. I don't have to necessarily wear them. I'm sure I'm not the only one that thinks like that, but so I will take it off because I'm in the house and it is a bit warm because the sun's coming through. But that is all the whips I've got, and I'm really going to have to focus on the cowl this week and see if I can get it done in the next few days, because I would like to put a package together and get it out in the mail before Christmas time, even though the deadline is not till end of January, I think. I was just hoping that if I can make the effort and mail that out to somebody who's got me might be trying to do the same and mail me my package before Christmas, because then I can put it under the tree. But if not, it's okay. Let's move into show and tell. And sorry, I'm going backwards and forwards. I've got notes over here, I've got everything over there, and I don't really have any show and tell because I haven't bought any yarn in a while. And that really was my show and tell section, was kind of like acquisitions or enabling, as some of the previous, I want to say older as in when I was watching them 4 years ago, not older as in they're old people. They used to call it enabling, because whatever they showed you just kind of made you think many times, I have to have that, and you would go online straight away and buy whatever they showed you. But I don't have any, and so I'm going to move into book talk. I've got quite a few books and to talk about. Not one of them is knitting. But that's okay. I said I would show you a knitting book, or review it, and show you inside when I've not got a lot of other things to show you. But I've got a few other books to talk about, so I didn't want this section to be huge. I'm going to let Bindi out again, so excuse me. Okay, back and moving into book talk. One of the books that I was going to mention, and I got out of the library last week. I don't even have it to show you because I read it in 2 days. It was called The Couple Next Door, and can't think of the author off the top of my head. It was a book I saw online. I think it's a newish book, so there was a hold on at the libraries. I put a hold on it. It came in, quicker than I expected, and that's probably because whoever's been reading it has been like me. It was a I can't put it down kind of book where you wanted to know what was happening or what was going to happen next. So if it only took them 2 days and they returned it, people have gone up the list a lot quicker. And so I've returned it to the library again already after 2 days, so the next person on the list can enjoy it. So it's, as I said, it's called The Couple Next Door. I don't want to say what it's about because the cover of the book or the back of it doesn't tell you what's going to happen, so I don't want to spoil it by telling you if it's not on there to read. Also, at the library, I picked up a couple of Christmassy ones. I heated up the coffee again, so it's nice and hot. So I started reading this one, because I have read quite a few of her Christmas ones, but I've never seen this, and I think it's just either new out last year or this year. So just a nice, fun, easy read. Barely started it though. So there was that. I haven't read this one, but we did read one of her knitting, the first one in the knitting series, I think quite a while back, as a read-along together, Sally Goldenbaum, I think I called it. So she does a lot of knitting fiction. This is a Seaside Knitters mystery, so it's the same, possibly the same characters as that knitting series that we'd started. But I haven't read it yet, but that's fun. What I'm halfway through as well, sort of. I bought my own copy. I started reading this last week, and it was on the Kindle because it's free. Amazon, even the library and everything. It's free to download. It's just a classic. And I was reading it, but I was just itching to be able to pick up a book every time I read. So I ordered on Amazon just this little version. It says it's an original, and it's got original illustrations as well in colour. So there's not many, but there's a few like this. And get the glare off. Of course, I'm enjoying it. I haven't read this for a couple of years, but my intention was to read it every year, and so I've started again. I've watched A Christmas Carol with George C. Scott. I'm up and down like a yo-yo letting her in and out. So she's in now. I can't pick you up because I've got no room, she says, trying to pick her up. I just realised I had taken my little guys off. I forgot to put them on. I'm getting hot. Little Miss Fluff here insisted on getting on my knee. Let's get back to just talking about the books. So, if anyone's reading, I know a few of you are. I didn't open a thread or anything, but it's just nice knowing that we're kind of reading along together throughout the month of December. And I haven't worked out how many pages I need to do, but I generally like to time it where I'm finishing this on Christmas Eve. So I might do that, work out, stagger it out, or just read as much as I can whenever I want, and then leave the last few pages for Christmas Eve. Speaking of Christmas Eve, I know that Danny from Little Bobbins Knits is doing another Christmas Eve cast on for socks. And so I'm thinking of doing that. I've not done it before because generally I don't have time, or I just never seem to get around to sitting down and casting on anything on Christmas Eve. Usually if I cast on something, it's often Christmas Day, or it has been in the past. But I do have in mind some yarn to use, not festive-y Christmas at all, but I'm going to stop this in a little while, and I'm going to go and get the yarn that I've just really decided in the past day, or I think it was yesterday I decided I'm going to use this yarn and knit some socks for myself. So I think I'm going to go get it. She's at the door again trying to go out. but you'll have to not go, you'll have to wait, Bindi. This is, since I last recorded, I tried another, I think it was just this one. I just had this idea that I wanted to do these kind of colours because of the idea I had from one of the new fabrics I got. I did put a couple of bags in the shop, but not many, and chances are I'll not put many in until after Christmas because I'm not really getting much time to sew. But this, and it says actually, I just realised this is worsted weight, but I think I'll still knit a pair of socks because one, they'll knit up faster, and I do like the odd pair to be thicker socks and just wear them like as bed socks. It looks similar to this, but it's not, as you can to me it looks similar, but there's bits of it that are not in here. So like this is called Happy Hour, and my idea was that it would have colours in of orange and red for, say, like a tequila sunrise. It's got pinks, or, well, it went pink, just reminds me of pink lemonade, or maybe it's a daiquiri is quite red, but then you've got like green for a mojito here, and this aqua green reminds me of like a blue lagoon. So I planned on casting some socks on with this on Christmas Eve and having a cocktail. I don't know which one. Also the greeny colour here was like a margarita as well, which is one of my favourite cocktails, or if you want to call it, yeah, it is a cocktail, isn't it? But it's usually just something I have in the summertime. So I'm not sure, it might not even be one of these cocktails I mentioned. I do have a lovely recipe for a snowtini, which is from Sandra Lee. I might do something like that. And I don't know, it's hard to say when I'll get time to record. I was going to say maybe if I record in the afternoon, I'll record a little bit of me casting them on and having a sip of my cocktail, and then just add it into the next time I record. That might be a nice idea. So I decided I'm going to cast on. This one, I'd showed you two colours. This was the Colour Me Happy. This is a fingering weight. I'm tempted to use that, but I just like the idea of having this. It's so brightly coloured. I just like the idea of this. So Christmas Eve, it's not festive. It's not green and red, but I just like it. So, all right. Still onto book talk. Yes, I'm not doing it now. Obviously, it's Christmas time, but I bought this a few months back. I think I might have got it just after I got back from England, the first time I went there. And I've considered doing this a few times, but I've just never started it. I've eaten healthy, so, you know, I go through phases. But I got into thinking about this again, so I got it off my shelf. I did make, just yesterday, I was in the kitchen, I made the tomato sauce. So you can freeze that, or you can use it in a few other dishes. And I made the chilli. And I've made this chilli the last time I picked this book up and looked at it, and it was really nice. The only difference for this batch that I made yesterday, I did add red kidney beans. And the beans aren't allowed on the Whole30 programme because they're legumes and you have to cut out all of those. But it was really nice. In fact, hubby's taken some for lunch today, and we had some for dinner last night. So I just wanted to mention it because it's in book talk. It is a book. And it's not going to be the 1st of January either, but sometime in January, I want to see if I can start this. I'm not very consistent with anything, and I don't know if I can go a whole month eating or cutting out a lot of the stuff they tell you to cut out, like the creamer in the coffee, milk, yogurt, even the beans and all that kind of thing. I'm not sure if I can do it, and alcohol. I'm not sure if I can do that for a whole month, but I have to psych myself up, and if I'm in the right frame of mind, I will start out very strong and see if I can do it. So I thought I would mention that. Now let's move into other crafty things. I finally got, and I've got this book too. I'm going to talk a little bit again about this in Girly Chatter, but remember I showed you this book. I didn't use a recipe out of here, but just used a recipe from online. I got round to finally making a lotion bar, or a few lotion bars, you know, the solid bars for like hand lotion and things like that for dry skin. I did make some last week. So I made a few, I think it was about 4, in my little silicone cupcake holders. And they came out really well. There's a little lump on there. They've come out well, but I followed one of the recipes that tells you to add a little bit of lavender, as you can see. And I don't know why, because they just kind of come off and get stuck to your hands. And one of the other recipes that the girl did was putting little bits of, wasn't coffee beans, I think it was chocolate, like carob, something like that. And maybe that's not as bad because it's a big chunk that you can just pick out. But this with the lavender, I'm using one, I'm not using this, I might melt it down and pick them all out, I don't know. I'm using one that is got nothing in it. It's got the lavender essential oil, but it doesn't have the bits in. So, if you haven't used a lotion bar before, it's a moisturising bar, and with the warmth of your hand, as you rub it, you can see it melts, gets on your hands, and see what I mean? I have to pick that off though. And then, depending on how much you want, you just rub it into your hands. And then you can, I've been doing it on my legs because my legs are very dry. So it smells nice, smells of lavender because I put the essential oil in. And it's a nice texture and I really like it. It's got shea butter, cocoa butter, beeswax, and I think a little bit of coconut oil and essential oil. So I really like it. I just don't like the bits in it. So that was one of the other little crafty things that I did this week, and or last week. And prior to making this, I had done another skeiner yarn, coloured that. So that's in my other crafty section. Now, before moving on to Girly Chatter, I do have some of the yarny talk. It's not knitting, it is crochet. I'm going to try and adjust that. Just yesterday, actually I think it was the day before, I was watching Danny again from Little Bobbins Knits. It was her latest episode, which I always look forward to. She hadn't recorded for a couple of weeks or maybe more. So I was watching that, really enjoying it, and she was talking about she'd done a lot of crocheting. She'd cast on a blanket from, the pattern was from Attic 24 website, attic24.com, and she'd cast on, and I think it's a scrappy crochet blanket. It's not squares, it's not circles, it's like a big where you go backwards and forwards, just like, I don't know what you call it, striped I think you can do it in stripes, but she's using all of her scrap fingering weight yarn. And it made me want to crochet again. And if you remember, quite a while back, I started crocheting a blanket, and it's the swirls, whatever you call it, goes up and down like that in waves. And I think that was after I'd seen Tilly Trout start one, but I kind of got fed up with it, and it's still in a bag somewhere. It's upstairs, but I've just put it to one side. And then not long ago, Tilly was also doing another crochet project, and I started that as well. And I started trying to do the circles. She was doing one of the blankets with circles, and then you join them, you make a square and you join them all. So I think I showed you these not long back, and I did quite a few. I haven't brought them all with me, but I had more than half a dozen. But here's the problem, and then it just put me off. When I tried to do the square, it just, I couldn't do it, and I start pulling it out, which is why it's looking like this. But I just couldn't get it. Maybe it's pulling it. It's this side. I think I've got too many here, but it just doesn't look, I kind of get that to be like a square. I don't know. Maybe it's when I pull it like that, it looks like a square. It does look like it'd be more the square there. But it just seemed as if it buckled, and it didn't look as neat as the circles. So once again, that got put to the side, and I've not really done anything with it. I only did those over a couple of days and then lost interest. So now, because Danny has started this thing, this crochet blanket, I feel like I want to give it a try. This was the crochet hook I was using with that, but I think I'll need a smaller one for fingering weight yarn. This is a boys. Yeah, don't know where I put my glasses. I think it's boys, boys, whatever, what do you call it? B-O-Y-E, boy. And I was actually sent a set of these as a gift lot a little while ago, which I love them because, you know, I don't crochet much, but to have a set and these handles, I love these. Nice plastic, it's just nice to hold. And even though I've just rubbed that moisturizer on my hand, it's not like slippery, it's just, I just feel like my hands are soft now, so still nice to grip. Anyway, I don't know whether the next time I record I will have started a blanket or I think you can do a little test. I might do a little test square to see whether or not I would like it. So let's move into some girly chatter. And Bindi, I'm not letting you out yet, and then we'll be kind of nearly finished. Girly chatter, which brought me, I was going to show you this a minute, is about me time, and especially this time of year when it gets busy, and you know, us moms are generally the ones that's got the most to do with gift buying and house cleaning and putting the decorations up and baking the cookies and just about everything really. It made me think about me time. I've always been lucky that I do get a lot of me time, but sometimes I don't do anything with it. If you know, I want to be more purposeful with my me time. So that made me think about, you know, just chatting to you about it and asking whether, and I wrote a little bit down, whether you take the time out. Do you have some me time? Is there anything specific that you do for you during your me time? Like, do you go off to the gym, or do you have a certain night where you go out knit night? I haven't been to a knit night in years now, but I know some people still have a regular knitting group. For me, that might be your... Oh, I thought it was going to stop there. It's still recording. For me, I want to try and make Sunday my me time and be specific. So I want to have all of the laundry done by Friday. I don't want to do laundry Saturday and Sunday. I want to have laundry done. I want to think about what meals we will be eating over Saturday and Sunday so I don't have to cook. Maybe I'll plan ahead and do something like the chili that we can reheat on a Saturday or a Sunday. I want to be able to knit all day if I want to, or read, or do both. And then I'd like to, in the evening, spend some time up in the bathroom having a little spa-y kind of treatment. And what I was going to show, because this is that book I've got on my list, I want it bought for me. If Santa doesn't bring it, then I have to buy it myself. In the back, it's got spa treatment-y kind of things, not just recipes, like I was showing you, and information about, you know, lots of different plants, but they've got something like this that I've never done before, but a body brush has gone on my wish list since I turned the pages on this. Dry body brushing to get all your, you know, dead skin off, skin cells. And then, let me see where I can find, I should have made it a note for it, because there was quite a few pages that was telling you what to do. Let me see if I can find it first. So there's a section in this book here, body, and it says you don't need to go to an expensive spa to enjoy reviving and revitalizing treatments. Pamper yourself with simple techniques. And so it goes into everything from, I don't think I'll do this every single Sunday, but it goes into things from the start to head massage, and then a facial, which is something I would like to do, and perhaps I'd like to try and do that once a week. Give yourself a facial and a face massage, and there's a full body pamper where you can get in the bath and do exfoliating. Sure, it tells you step by step. Then it does go into some of the recipes, and again there it was even telling you step by step about, you know, doing the body brushing. So I don't know, that's my plan for the new year, or even starting this Sunday, is not only just spend, because I was going to say spend the day on my own. I'm in the house normally, and when I say on my own, it's because hubby's either working or reading something, de-stressing or just relaxing. Kiki's often playing games on the computer. So it is a nice relaxing day. As I said, I just would like it to be more, I'd like to be more mindful of the things I do. So I'll perhaps keep you informed. Because I've written it down, I'll let you know, whether I get round to starting of that. But do let me know if there is anything or there's any ideas that you do for yourself in me time. And if you don't do me time, then I highly recommend that you do and try and find some time for you. I think we all need it, and especially at this time of year, as I said, when things get really, really busy. So, with that said, it brings me to the end, and I've got a little surprise giveaway. I got everything sent out, the bags that were won last time, and I did mention I might do a little giveaway this month. I didn't open a special thread, so what I've done is everybody that made a comment in the past 2 episodes, or there was 3 posts on YouTube for the first episode I did, and then there's the next episode, number 182, and then there's the episode threads in the Ravelry group. So what I've done is allocated everyone a number, not necessarily the number that is in the Ravelry group for your post, but I wrote the names down and went from 1, 2, 3, 4, allocated you all a number. There was a total of 45 people. Now, if you've commented more than once, I ignored the second or third comments. It's just everyone gets one chance, and over those 2 episodes, there was 45 comments, which I absolutely love, and I really appreciate you taking the time to do that. So, excuse me, I'm going to reach over. I've decided I was going to put a little package together and hopefully get it out before Christmas if the winner gets in touch with me. Because as I said last week, or the last episode, when I do a giveaway, I'm not going to contact you. You have to contact me, which tells me or lets me know that you've watched the podcast, or a friend has given you the heads up and you've watched it because she's told you that. It'll be a nice surprise for you. So that for the winner, I'm going to put a little package together. I've got a couple of things that are going in here. Now, if you would like a surprise, then look away after I've told you who you are. If you don't want to see what I'm going to give you, then I'll tell you to look away. But the winner was number 9 from the random generator, and number 9 was not necessarily number 9 in the Ravelry group, as I've said, but the winner of the 9 that I had in my list is KHG Knits, and that's Katie. So Katie, if you're watching, hopefully you are, I have a little something I would like to try and get out, and if you want to keep it as a surprise and put it under your Christmas tree, then look away now. Bindi, I will let you out in a second, sweetheart. So look away and turn your volume down just for a minute. So I'm going to send this out, and turn your volume down if you haven't. It's an Oceans pouch. It's one that I did have in the shop, but I'm going to give it away. Lovely little Notions pouch with a little handle, and I'm going to put a few things in. There might be some stitch markers. Not yet, Bindi. Some stitch markers, maybe some candy or some chocolate. I'm also going to wrap up carefully this little ornament from my tree, and it's a ceramic. You can see he's little Rudolph, and he's hand painted by me quite a few years ago, and he's been hanging on my tree, so I'm going to send him off for you to hang on your tree. I hope you like him. And as I said, hand painted, even, and he's going to be blurry, but even the tiny little eyes and the holly and the ribbon that's got gold dusted on top as well. Hard to see because, it blurs when I put it close up. So, you can turn it up now, Katie. I don't know how you'll know, but hopefully you've either fast forwarded a minute, or you just watched and you're excited because you've just seen what I'm going to send. So I would like to send that. If you have not contacted me by the time I record again, which if it's not a week's time, it may be just before Christmas Eve. So it might be because it's 2 weeks. And the week goes by so fast. If I don't get a chance to record on Monday next week, it'll be the following Monday, if that is before Christmas. I don't know. But whenever I record next, if I've not heard from you, I'm going to pull somebody else's name. And if you have commented in this thread for episode 183, or left a comment in YouTube, I don't know if I mentioned that, but some of these numbers or names were if you commented on YouTube as well, because sometimes you comment there and not in the Ravelry group. The comments for number 183 will be added to this list, and if you haven't already, if you're new commenting, as I said, if you've commented before, for now, for this gift, it's just one entry per per person. And I think I mentioned if once I just start doing a bag giveaway every month, then you'll have at least 4, maybe 5 chances, depending on how many episodes, if I can try and do a weekly episode. you'll get as many chances as there is episodes, if that makes sense, in that month. So contact me, Katie. I do have your address, but I would like to hear from you. So PM me on Ravelry and let me know, and I'll get that in the mail to you. I'm going to wrap it up ready so I can get straight down to the post office. And with that, a whole lot of waffling and stops and starts, although it wasn't stops and starts for you, but for me it was up and down letting little Missy out. She likes to be out on the deck sitting on the chairs, and a few, coffee heat ups. It brings me to the end of this episode. So I hope you've all enjoyed sitting down with me. Hope everything's going well for you with Christmas organising, and try not to stress out. It does get very stressful for some at Christmas time, but enjoy everything, enjoy every day. It goes so fast. So until next time, as I said, I hope everything goes well for you. Hope you enjoy everything you do, and I do hope you come back soon and sit down and join me in the knitting den. Bye guys.